Ever wonder how a simple running shoe company from Oregon conquered the world? This isn't just a story about sneakers. It's a story about a dream, a waffle iron, and a revolution. This is the Nike Odyssey. Our story begins in the 1960s, in the heart of track and field country, Eugene, Oregon. Here, a middle-distance runner named Phil Knight and his coach, the legendary Bill Bowerman, shared an obsession. They weren't just chasing medals, they were chasing speed itself. Bowerman was constantly tinkering, trying to shave off fractions of a second by modifying his athlete's shoes. Knight, fresh out of business school, had a wild idea. He wrote a paper arguing that high-quality, low-cost running shoes from Japan could break the German dominance in the American market. It was a long shot, but he believed in it. So, in 1962, Knight took a leap of faith. He flew to Japan and managed to secure the US distribution rights for Onitsuka Tiger shoes, a leading Japanese brand. He pitched the idea to Bowerman, and together they invested $500 each to start a company. They called it Blue Ribbon Sports. They didn't have a fancy office or a storefront. Knight sold the first pairs of Tigers out of the trunk of his Plymouth Valiant at track meets across the Pacific Northwest. It was pure hustle, driven by a genuine passion for the sport. They weren't just selling shoes. They were connecting with a community of runners who, like them, craved better gear. By the dawn of the 1970s, Blue Ribbon Sports was growing, but so were the tensions with Onitsuka Tiger. Knight and Bowerman realized that to truly innovate and control their destiny, they needed to create their own brand. The break was coming, and they needed an identity. They needed a name, and they needed a logo. The name Nike, after the Greek goddess of victory, came to an employee in a dream. It was perfect. For the logo, they turned to a graphic design student at Portland State University named Caroline Davidson. For the grand sum of $35, she created one of the most iconic symbols in history, the swoosh, a mark representing motion, speed, and the wing of the goddess herself. With a new name and a new logo, they needed a breakthrough product. And inspiration struck in the most unlikely of places, the breakfast table. One morning in 1971, Bill Bowerman was watching his wife make waffles and had a eureka moment. He looked at the waffle iron's grid pattern and thought, what if that could be a shoe sole? He poured urethane into the family waffle iron, ruining it in the process, but creating a revolutionary new outsole. The waffle sole was born. It was lightweight, offered incredible traction on various surfaces, and provided better cushioning than anything before it. The 1972 Waffle Trainer was their first major hit, putting the fledgling Nike brand on the map and changing the running shoe industry forever. The 1980s arrived, and Nike was no longer just a running company. It was a cultural force. But it was about to go stratospheric. The decade began with the Air Force One, a basketball shoe that became a street-style icon. But the real game-changer was a rookie from North Carolina. In 1984, Nike took a massive gamble, signing a charismatic young basketball player named Michael Jordan to a signature shoe deal. The Air Jordan 1, with its bold red and black colorway, broke NBA rules and captured the imagination of a generation. Jordan wasn't just an athlete, he was a phenomenon, and as he soared through the air, he took Nike with him. Then, in 1988, came three simple words that would define the brand for decades to come. Just do it. The ad campaign, inspired by the last words of a convicted killer, was raw, direct, and empowering. It wasn't about selling a product. It was about selling an attitude, a mindset of pushing your limits, overcoming obstacles, and achieving your potential. It resonated with everyone, from professional athletes to everyday people trying to get fit. The combination of Michael Jordan's unparalleled success and the "just do it" philosophy transformed Nike from a sportswear company into a global symbol of ambition and human potential. But with great power comes great scrutiny. As the 1990s unfolded, Nike, now a global giant, faced a major crisis. Reports emerged detailing poor labor conditions and low wages in the overseas factories that produced their products. The brand that stood for empowerment was accused of exploitation. Protests erupted, and Nike's image took a massive hit. The company was at a crossroads. It could ignore the criticism, or it could face it head-on. They chose the latter. Nike began a long and difficult process of reform. They started conducting factory audits, raising labor standards, and becoming more transparent about their supply chain. It was a painful but necessary evolution, forcing the company to reconsider its global responsibilities. This willingness to engage with complex social issues would define Nike's modern era. Fast forward to 2018. The company launched a campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick, the NFL quarterback who knelt during the national anthem to protest racial injustice. The decision was incredibly divisive. Some called for boycotts, burning their Nike gear in protest. Others praised the company for taking a courageous stand. But the Dream Crazy campaign was a massive success, resonating deeply with a younger, more socially conscious generation. It proved that Nike was no longer just selling shoes or an attitude of personal achievement. It was aligning itself with the values and struggles of its consumers, becoming a voice in cultural conversations. So, what's next for the company that started in the trunk of a car? The future of Nike is digital and personal. With apps like the Nike Training Club and Nike Run Club, they've built a massive online community, offering personalized coaching and tracking. They're pioneering new materials and sustainable manufacturing methods, aiming to reduce their environmental footprint. But at its core, the spirit of Nike remains the same as it was in the 1960s with Knight and Bowerman. It's about the relentless pursuit of innovation, the belief in human potential, and the simple, profound joy of movement. From a waffle iron in Oregon to a digital ecosystem connecting millions around the globe. The Nike Odyssey is a testament to the power of a single, audacious idea. Just do it. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through sneaker history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories behind the world's most iconic brands. See you in the next one.